In today's video, we will be talking about the Georgia 2022 Senate election runoff between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, the final undecided U.S. Senate seat. So I'm going to get right into today's video. Now, we've been at this point before, except there's a couple of key differences between this runoff and the runoff um, that happened in 2021. The first difference is timing. This runoff will be held on December the 6th of this year. The time period shortened as basically last year, Republicans blamed it on how long it took for the runoff to occur, and thus they shortened the time period from the difference of the election to the runoff from 2 months down to just a month. So we have this year's runoff much sooner than we had last year's runoff. The second difference is that this runoff will not decide Senate control. If we look at the Senate results right now, Democrats have already retained the Senate as they flipped Pennsylvania and retained all their seats except the state of Georgia, which is heading to this runoff election. While last year Democrats were at 48 to 50, and Democrats had the vice president, so that the runoff would decide the Senate control alongside the other runoff, which was between Jon Ossoff and Republican David Perdue. Now let's look at the 2020 runoff results. Now for the 2021 runoffs, we didn't have necessarily a good picture of the first round because there was a jungle primary and there was more than 10 candidates. Ultimately, though, Democrats ended up at 48.6% of the total vote, and Republicans ended at 49.6% of the total vote, with the other votes going to the third parties or independents. In the main race, incumbent tender David Perdue won with 49.7% of the vote in that initial runoff. However, he did not reach 50%. Thus, again, there would have been a runoff, and Jon Ossoff ultimately defeated David Perdue. Now, if we look at the trend from the shift from November, basically the shift from the Senate race in November, we can see that many of the counties actually shifted Democratic in this runoff because although the first round of the Republican vote was split, they did combine the total Republican vote. Now, this was actually somewhat surprising, given that the Libertarian candidate who took away the plurality or majority of the remaining vote would have likely went to the Republican Party, as Libertarians typically do end up voting for the more conservative candidate when a Libertarian is not on the ballot. However, in the state of Georgia here, you can see that Raphael Warnock consistently did better than what he did in that 2020 original election. Now, which areas did he particularly do well in? Those are the majority black areas and the areas that have a large population. The Atlanta suburbs, he actually overperformed by quite a bit. You can see that he overperformed by 2.7 in DeKalb, 5 points in Clayton, 2.2 in Fulton, 4.4 in Henry, so he did overperform there. Athens as well, a larger county. Richmond and Columbus, those are all larger counties in the state of Georgia. And who is likely to win this runoff? Well, it really depends at this point. Chase Oliver, the Libertarian, typically you'd expect those votes to go to Herschel Walker, and he'll be able to win. Well, the race is not that simple. In 2020, there was 5 million votes in the initial race. By the runoff, there was only less than 450,000, so more than 500,000 voters disappeared. Why did they disappear? Well, the reason was that they were not excited to vote. And this year, the problem will be even larger, as last year, Senate control was on this line, and Democrats and Republicans really fought out the Senate control. However, this year, without Senate control beyond the ballot, Democrats and Republicans will be less eager to turn out for their respective candidates. So this race will be really about a turnout race, as there are going to be mail-in ballots and provisional ballots or early ballots that will come in. Before the election, we can already have a good estimate of what the result will be. However, we'll have to wait for the early vote because those votes will likely already tell us who is winning, because you can really see which party is turning out more. Raphael Warnock in this race received 35,000 votes, more than Herschel Walker. However, both candidates definitely have enough voters to win. The problem is, could they turn this out? Could Herschel Walker turn out Republicans in the rural areas? Could Democrat Raphael Warnock turn out Democrats in the Atlanta area? Could counties like Gwinnett, Newton, and Henry stay very Democratic? For example, Hillary Clinton won the county of Cobb by just 3%. Raphael Warnock won this county in this election by 16 points. So we'll have to see. Will the county of Cobb, for example, when the results come in, will it be still a 16-point difference? Or will it just be a 2 or 3 point difference, or somewhere in between? If that is the case, is it a 10-point race? Is it a 5-point race? Is it a 15-point race? We'll have to see. Now, given my early prediction, what is my prediction for this runoff race? As of today, I do have Warnock ahead because polls actually underestimated Raphael Warnock. Walker was at 47.8% of the polls. He was underestimated by 0.7 points, but Raphael Warnock was underestimated by closer to 2.5 points, more than that actually. So, look at the polling area of this election, it actually favored Republicans. So I have to take that into consideration. As much as I think that Herschel Walker will probably win, I have to take it to statistics. So given that, I probably would say Raphael Warnock defeats Herschel Walker by about 0.5%. This is very close. This is not necessarily a percentage race. This is a turnout race. Can you turn out your voters? And I think that both parties will likely still turn out a lot of voters, but there will still be some voters that would probably not turn out. We'll expect to drop this number to 3.5 million votes. In this case, we'll have to see if that 429,000 voters that drop out are they Democrats or Republicans. Anyways, that is the early analysis of the 2022 U.S. Senate election runoff in the state of Georgia. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.